Good. Hello. Hello, hello. We'll give it a few minutes. Oh, I didn't even check chat. I'm a mess today, guys. Bear with me. I am a mess. Here we are. Hey, T. How are you? We're going to give it a few minutes. Everything is alleged in our opinion only. I got a few things I need to set up really fast. Nobody's here yet. Nobody's here. Hi, Jackie. How are you? Hey, bestie. Happy Wednesday. Bronx just decided to bring me a ball. So, hey, Liv. How are you? Hey, Steven. Hey, you're here early, Steven. How's your day? Thanks, bestie. I appreciate you. Hey, Fizzy Fizz. Hello, hello. So today, I'm going to start with the Eric Gower interview. I'm sure we've all seen it, but I did want to chit chat about it just because we haven't talked about it yet. It's really short, and I do have it at 1.25 speed. So, oh, what a blessing, Stephen. That's great. I know. Isn't that the rules, Fizzy? He does this thing where he'll take something that he likes, a treat or a ball or whatever, and he'll take it on the couch and then he'll throw it off the couch and expect me to pick it up over and over and over. Like, I'm not the dog. This is not how this goes. You overslept. Oh, no. How did you sleep until it gets dark during the day? Do you work third shift or something, or second? Hey, shoe booty. That sucks. That stinks. Did Tikkun, did Kaylee drive to Houston? Or are you saying when she was planning on like moving or whatever? I don't think she was going to end up moving, honestly. I really don't. I think that she was saying that I don't think she was actually going to do it, honestly. Hey, Moto, good to see you. We are the dog's pet. Like, it's wild. And he never used to play with me either. And now suddenly he wants to play, but I'm the dog. Like, here, mom, go catch this. You're driving me nuts. Go play with your ball, lady. Oh, Steven, you woke up at 11? 11's not that late, though. I could sleep till 11. Oh, yesterday, Bronx slept until like 4 in the afternoon. I didn't have to take him out till 4 in the afternoon. Hey, Big Mikey. What'd you say? It's my fault he dropped the ball off the couch. Yeah, obviously. Leave it up to me. So, whoops. So Tikkun, she was called by Dylan to come back, but she was in Rathdrum, Idaho, I believe, is the town that she was in. She was still in Idaho. I mean, it was a little bit of a drive, but she wasn't in Texas at that time. So, she did come back. Actually, Dylan, I believe, went to her parents' house to coerce her to come. Like, I didn't even think you guys were that close of friends to be going to Kaylee's parents' house to ask her to come back for what? To go to a dance that you guys aren't going to? I don't understand. I don't understand that from the beginning. Oh, true. It does get dark at like 4:30. I can't stand that. I wish it would just stay like regular, get dark at 8 or 9 or whatever. Hey, Pokey. See, we were waiting on Pokey. Now we can get started. Oh, and Lucy's here. There we go. Now we can get started. There's a few things actually before I start with the Gower interview. There's a few things I do want to talk about really quick. Let me move this guy over here. Okay, let me share this first. I've briefly heard somebody mention this. However, Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Whoops, that's not gonna work. Maybe not. Okay, let me put this. Shoot, where'd I go? I lost it. Well, I'll just wait on that. I'll wait on this one. Okay. So I don't know if you guys remember. Let me make this bigger. This is actually a video that I made a long time ago, but I don't think back then I had a lot of people like viewing my channel. So I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but I do want to make sure you guys know about this because it's something that's bothered me for a long, long time. Let me see. Let me see. 170. It should be this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. I'll make it bigger. Well, dang, that didn't work. That's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm going to play this really quick. So this is from Dateline, and this was something that was said on the Dateline episode thing they did, and not very many people caught this. However, I did put this information in a pre-recorded video, like right after the Dateline thing came out, and I don't think it was caught by many people, so I want to make sure that everybody knows this was said.
20 a.m. is suspect vehicle 1 as it burst back into the range of that security camera. At a high rate of speed, the car raced toward the intersection, turned right, and disappeared from view. This car left in such a hurry, he almost hit somebody.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that? Play one more time.
Turned right and disappeared from view. This car left in such a hurry, he almost hit somebody.
Yeah. So this car left in such a hurry, they almost hit somebody. Well, then wouldn't we have a perfect eyewitness of whose vehicle it was and maybe who was driving? It's like a lot of people I don't think heard that. It took me a couple times to like hear what I was hearing. Like, yeah, to hear what I was hearing. So we have a witness that not only saw the vehicle, but was close enough to possibly see who was driving. Yeah, who did this car almost hit? I mean, we have the whole video footage. So where were they on the street? Which street were they on? Why don't we have this information anywhere? I feel like that's a big piece of information. So this car they want to say is Brian Koberger's left the neighborhood so fast they almost hit somebody. So who and why haven't they been interviewed? We don't have any reports on it. How come this person never came forward? And they would be able to perfectly identify what vehicle this is and possibly who was driving. How many people were in the car? Which way they turn, you know, like anything like that. Oh my God, that would be great. Yeah, so there's a total eyewitness aside from Dylan, apparently, you know what I mean? Like her eyewitness, which is pretty much worthless. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So when Bill Thompson is in court saying, well, there's one eyewitness, we only have one eyewitness that saw this person, but now you're saying there's another one. But nobody talked about it. Nobody caught it. Nobody talked about it. Like, who is this freaking person? The car literally almost hit somebody. Where did the somebody come from? Because we have the security footage, we have the video, and we can see for almost the whole night, except for what we really want to see. But who, where was this person? Who are they? Maybe, but this is, I think one of the FBI people, right? So they obviously, he says, this is the FBI guy, and he agrees. Yes, that car almost hit somebody. Where? So there is a witness. I don't know. Was pretty interesting to me because I haven't really heard anybody talk about it. And when I made this video saying there was a witness, I didn't have very many people really watching yet. So I'd never heard anybody else talk about it. I just think it's strange. Like, this person that almost got hit by Brian Koberger, according to them, to me, would be a huge deal to them. Nope, not a peep. This is the only thing we hear about it. We never hear about this before or after. Again, wild. No, you can't see anybody in the video at all. I can, it's just the regular 1112 camera. That's all we get to see. And we see that. Now, we do see the guy come out. Remember the guy from across the street? He came out and like ran down the road. But that was, what, an hour? An hour before Brian Koberger's suspect vehicle 1 speeds away at a high rate of speed. Yeah, he came out an hour before. I don't think I remember him coming back, but I wouldn't imagine he'd be just standing on that street for an hour for what? Yeah, yeah, you're right, Lucy. He might need to find a new job. That's crazy. There's a whole witness, and it probably was. You know who it probably was? See, since we know that's actually the undercover vehicle, right? It was probably Rosie walking away from 1122, but a different way, like around the back, and then having Tesdall come and pick him up. And now they're just saying that it was just a random witness that almost got hit by the car, but really it was Rosie and it was Tesdall picking him up. That's what it was. Or yeah, or Justin Stringer, or whatever the heck his name is, and it was maybe Molly's thing. It still drives me nuts, the whole Molly thing. Like, I feel like there's more to that. I feel like there's more to her people, and everything else. And I honestly think at this point that it was Molly's Pen Trap and Trace is where they got Brian Koberger's number. That's what I think. That's what I think. How else would they have his name unless we go with the whole theory that this was the whole, planned study thing, Other than that, like, how would they get Brian Koberger's name other than pulling it out of their butt? I don't know. I think it's strange. I really, really do. I also want to look at this again very, very quickly. My nose is running. Sorry, guys. This is obviously what we know as the 4 bobbling heads behind the Banfield stop. But I also heard this on another channel recently. Don't remember where, but Bronx is going wild right now. Sorry if you can hear him. Does it look where I have this circled? Let me see if I can make it bigger. Does it look like this white, this light colored area? Does that look like a white purse? Like the person is holding a white purse? Hi, Bianca. Good to see you. What you making, Fizzy Fizz? Yes, I still want to talk about the extortion. I had a whole thing for it, but I never ended up talking about it. So we're not going to do it today, but I will do that. We can do it maybe Friday. I can fit it in. I have a couple other things I'm working on, but it's taking a very long time because I have to go through hours and hours of stuff and then match it up with reports. So we'll get to that too. That might be on Friday as well, just so you know. Anyways, does this, it's hard to see, but it's just above the car. To me, it looks like an arm around a white purse, which I think is interesting because, let me see this very, very quick. Where'd it go? Here it is. This person has a white purse and a dark shirt on as well. And this is the grub truck. I was just wondering. Oh no, Pokey. Hey, tattoo gal. Eggs and white corn. You said that last time, Fizzy. You said you are making eggs and white corn tortilla. Now, if it's that good that you're making it once every other week, I need the recipe. Hi, Leslie and Billy. Hello, hello. So yeah, it looks like the same group from the grub truck, doesn't it? I think so as well. My problem that I have with that is, why didn't those people just come forward and say that was us? I'll never understand that. Because like I said a million times, if that was me and my friends running by in front of the house that 4 people were unalived in, pretty much at the same time it happened, I would come forward, since this video's been out for a long time. I would come forward and be like, yeah, that was me and my friends. That's crazy. I was running in front of a house where 4 people were being unalived and blah, blah, blah. Nobody came forward and said that. I'm not sure why everything is so hush hush, but to me, this white purse with this dark colored sleeve looks the same as what is on these. And I'll go back and play it just a second, where you can see like the purse kind of start to stand
out at night
right there. She's
at 3 o'clock in the morning, actually closer to 3:12 in the morning. And as you watch those 4 figures,
totally
remember,
carrying
police
a white
say the
purse
murders
or a
happened
white
between
something.
3 and 4 in the morning. Did those people see something?
The thing
Who
is,
are
the
they?
head doesn't look
Have
like.
police tracked them down? Ask them any questions? Ruled them
It
out?
kind of does. I'm not sure. I'm
And
trying to look at
again,
the hair
if they're ruled out, did they
to see if there's hair, dark colored, longer hair, but I don't really see the hair on that person, but it's hard to see, obviously. But yeah, I think that's the same. The other thing before we get into Gowers is, I want to know at what point did yeah, exactly, the last 24. I want to know at what point did Hunter wash his hands, right? Because he came in, he grabs the knife, he goes around and apparently checks people's pulse, and then sets the knife down with red fluid on his fingers. But when the officers check his hands, there's no red fluid. Hold on. There's no red fluid on his hands when they check his hands. I'm just curious when he washed his hands and where. Oh, that's interesting. Saeed does seem like he ran into Yes, he does. That seems like a total distraction. Like, that's crazy. Why would you walk up to officers with alcohol in your hands while they're trying to stop other people for having alcohol in their hands? I get he was 21, but that's who walks directly up to the officers for what? Yeah, and it doesn't look like, you're right, Mandy. It doesn't look like Hunter wiped his hands off on his pants, or I mean, I suppose if he put his hands in his pocket, some might come off, but I wouldn't think it would look this clean. At what point did he wash his freaking hands? In what sink did he wash his hands? Because I looked at the kitchen sink and that wasn't used. He did not use the kitchen sink. So where did he wash his hands? That's also why I can't stand the fact that all the pictures we have doesn't have a date or timestamp, because I could go back and say, well, this is the time the knife was on there. This is the time a picture of the sink was. It's not, the sink isn't wet or have splashes in it from somebody washing their hands, but I can't do that because there's no timestamps on it. I don't know exactly when it was taken compared to when we see the knife on the table. So I don't know how long it's been since that sink wasn't used. It's just strange. I don't know where he washed his hands. They do look freshly cleaned. So I feel like he would have had to wash his hands, or else, because it looks like it's on his outer knuckles, like the top parts, the knuckles, or the top parts of his fingers in between the knuckles. to me, it looks like it's right, like on the outside, like you're setting something down. But I feel like then he would have red fluid up in his like cuticle in his nail beds. If he just had it on there and put his hands in his pocket, pulled them back out, he would still have remnants of the red fluid on his hands. And then, of course, the wild part that they say it's Kaylee's red fluid. Like, that doesn't, none of this makes sense unless they're just forgetting their own narrative and are that dumb. I don't know. But yeah, this knife totally looks used. I can't imagine he said he got it from the kitchen drawer, so it would have been a clean knife, and it looks dirty. I couldn't imagine it would be a completely dirty knife in the clean kitchen drawer, you know, with whatever. But yeah, I was just curious, when did he wash his hands? That's it. What sink? That's it. Okie dokie. Let me look what else I have to chit chat about before we go into Gower's interview, although it is pretty fast. My question is, we know that Xana had rugs on her nightstand, and everybody pretty much said that her and Ethan did rugs, and they did them that night, from my understanding. Knowing, with law enforcement knowing that there's rugs on the table and they're using, wouldn't you think they put more weight, no pun intended, on where they're getting their substances from? I think they asked like one person, maybe, where they, I don't even know if they asked where they get them from. They just asked about using patterns, really. I don't remember them asking where do they get their rugs. Don't you think that would kind of be a big deal? A lot of people that don't know about street rugs and that whole, like, whatever, like having a person to deal you know what I'm saying? They will make just having something small like Adderall into a big deal. Law enforcement will. And they didn't. And it strikes me as odd that they didn't even try and figure out who is supplying their rugs. Maybe that was, because officers don't know. They could have bought, I don't know, $5,000 worth of Adderall to last them all year. Who knows? And that was just the last of it or whatever. You don't know how much they're buying just because there's a little bit sitting out. They didn't know how much they were actually buying. It could have been a large amount, and that could have been a rug hit. We don't know. And law enforcement definitely didn't know, especially in that moment. You would think they would have looked into that more. Oh, thank you so much, Leslie and Billy. Yeah, he did say that he checked for a pulse, so you would expect that there would be some transfer on his fingers, but not Kaylee's. I mean, they're saying that that's Kaylee's red fluid that transferred from Hunter's fingers to the table after setting down the knife. How did he get Kaylee's on his fingers? That's the weird part. Yeah, I agree with you, Liv, that most cops would try and figure out what rugs they are, where they're coming from, who's supplying them, how much they're using, everybody else that's using. And that's what irritates me so much about the toxicology report, not because I want them to have rugs in their system, like stupid Viv said, but because that's a lie. We know they were using. So why are you saying without a report? You don't give us a report at all, but you're telling us that there's no rugs in their system. It was just alcohol. Bullshit. That's bullshit. That's a lie. And that right there tells you they're lying about that. They're lying about the big stuff. Ugh, sorry. Busy says, I think that knife is from the drawer where's the sheath for it? All the other ones have one in the drawer. Do they? I looked too. I was looking at the colors of the handle though to see if it matched with the other knives in there, and I believe it did, kind of. I felt like it was a similar color. Don't know if it was the exact same one. I'm pretty sure it was, in a set, but I did not check the tops of it, if it had a sheath for it. Interesting, because you would think if all the other ones had it, just like you said, and you pull that one out, it would have one, and you would have to take it off. Where did you put that part? Good brain. Good braining, Fizzy. Way to brain. That's my problem too, Moto. Moto says you would think he would have noticed the stab wounds and said it was an unaliving instead of unconscious. That's part of my whole contention too with the whole Hunter interaction. First of all, it's almost like a loop. We hear the things, or no, we get the story of what happened, right? And then supposedly it happens again when they're calling 911. If you think about it, if you go back and listen to everybody's stories, they make it seem like the same events happened twice, before the 911 call and then while they were on the 911 call. It's very strange. It's almost like a loop, but you have to like really pay attention and listen to it to, I don't even know if I'm explaining it right, but that's my problem though, is if Hunter checked the pulse of Xana, obviously, number one, he's going to be leaning down and touching her, you know, and looking in her face or her body or close enough to see all those stab wounds. And the red, they said red fluid was completely surrounding her. So number one, if you checked Xana's pulse, how'd you get Kaylee's red fluid on your fingers? Number two, how did Hunter get close enough to Xana to check her pulse, but then not transfer bloody footprints back out of the room? I don't understand. And then after that, you don't inform anybody that there was stab wounds all over Xana's face and hands and body and blood everywhere. You don't mention that. You just let everybody else continue to think that somebody was unconscious. I feel like he didn't say anything because everybody knew already, right? Like that to me makes more sense, which is wild. Lucy says, for fuck's sake, Viv told me once that had Koberger not waived speedy trial, the state would have used the cast draft. I struggle to take her seriously now. She's an idiot. She's an idiot. I don't like to even speak her name. I blocked her when she took my video and then reposted it and saying that, could you imagine being so miserable in your own life that you want murder victims to be on drugs? And I'm like, what? That's not what I said. I said I was mad because we know they were using and they tell us the toxicology report came back with nothing in their system. That's a lie. Not that I want them. I mean, she's an idiot. She just does that so people will follow her. You know what I mean? She's just trying to feed off making everybody else pissed off. It worked. I blocked her. Get the F out of here, lady. Crazy lady. Really, Big Mikey? Where'd you hear that? Big Mikey says 3 of the 4 had Coca-Cola in their system. It came out that, well, I guess, I don't know who put it out there. I don't know if it was an officer or Mabit or who put it out. I would have to look it up. That said, toxicology report states there was no other substances in their system other than alcohol. But they didn't give us the report. Like, you guys are the biggest liars. I don't even know what to believe and what not to believe. Denise says, supposedly, Hunter was trying to spare the girls from knowing or seeing. And I can understand that. I really do understand that. But it's not really about those girls or anybody else or him in that moment. Wouldn't you need to inform officers? I mean, he was in there by himself. Why couldn't he inform the officers as they came in the house and nobody else was in there but him? Why can't he? I don't understand. Yeah. Dylan said Xana was asleep on the floor. What I don't understand either is, how did they know to call and say an unconscious person? I get that Dylan wants to say that she ran by the room and saw Xana on the floor 9 hours previously. But then Hunter says he couldn't tell and he had to push open the door to get in there. So how then could Dylan see enough in the room to see Xana on the floor? I still feel like they knew, they saw. That's why nobody said anything about Kaylee or Maddie upstairs. They already knew. Oh, I see the last comment. That's a good one. We can talk about that. Hi, Hanky Panky. So I did know, Hanky Panky says, did you see the doc about, welcome also, by the way. We are glad to have you over here. Hanky Panky says, did you see the doc about penile swab submitted to the lab? I do know, I remember in that long document that is basically labeled their autopsy report, but it's not. It just pretty much says what they swabbed and what was bagged and things like that. I do remember seeing that in that report, along with the other swabs of hands and bags on feet and all the other swabs they did. I do remember seeing a swab on Ethan like that. And I'm wondering if maybe they took a swab of that, maybe seeing for the, I don't like it, to see if it was sexually motivated. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how swabbing him there would, I don't know what that would do. I don't know why they would take that. Yeah, I'm not sure why they would take that. Unless it's just standard procedure when if you're gonna do those kits, those grape kits on the girls or whatever, just doing it on him, because they took anal as well. I think all of them, they took anal. Ethan as well. But yeah, I wasn't sure why they did that. It could just be standard. I'm not sure. Yes, Liv, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Liv says it's like the 911 call is the actual second go around of events. When you hear their stories and read the documents, it's like that, those events where the people come, Hunter and Emily come over there and the friends come over there and they go in and do all that, blah, 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 blah. He grabs a knife and all that. It's like that happens, but then it happens again while they're on the 911 call, because that's when supposedly Hunter says, get out, get out, get out. It doesn't make sense. It's like it happens in a loop twice. It's weird. Yes, you are absolutely right. Steven says, did Hunter use that knife to finish Kaylee off? That's how her blood got on Hunter and the knife. My initial thought was that he actually did go up to the third floor and checked them as well. And that's how he got it on there. But why deny doing that? Because there's no other way other than him having contact with her, right? Unless where Hunter touched on Xana was transfer blood from Kaylee. I wouldn't think it would still be wet like that, though, if it was just a transfer. I'm not sure. Now you have my gears turning. Did Hunter use the knife to finish Kaylee off? I mean, at this point, literally anything's possible. My mind went to him either going up there or all of them going up there and checking and then just saying they didn't. I'm not sure. But it could also be possible that Xana had Kaylee's red fluid on her as well. But that would be a whole different story to dig into then. Because how would you get her fluid on Xana, checking her pulse? Did he check her wrist? Did he check her neck? Like, do we even know where he checked on her? Hi, Christina. Yes, you are right, Denise. Denise says Gunderson did say to the other cop when he said he didn't tell them, the friends, that they were unalive, that the friends already knew. Yeah, we all, we heard that on the body cam thing when he was like, should we tell them that all of their friends are deceased? And he was like, they already know. What? Oh, my goodness, girl. So I'll tell you what I'm working on. What I really want to do, and I've been working on lately, is I want to take all of Dylan's interviews and get all the details from them and compare each interview, but also compare each interview to the reports of the interviews and then see, you know, what's accurate, what's completely different. And I'm not done yet, but I also FOIA'd. I FOIA'd today the interview of Dylan and Officer Williamson. I think it's Williamson. That interview was done on December 1st. Nobody's ever heard that one yet. So, yes. Thank you, Moto. Moto says, essentially, 2 teenage blonde bimbos outsmarted the FBI, Homeland Security, ISP, and MPD and got away with murder. I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Or were they all working together? Because this is way bigger than... Oh, I had some information on Scott Green, and now I can't remember what it is. Shoot, I forgot. I'll dig it up. I had something written down, and now I don't remember what it is. But yeah, either they outsmarted them because they got away. Well, it's more of them getting away with it. Because if these were men, these officers wouldn't have gone so soft on them. So I think they got away with it because they're young females and got away with saying, oh, I don't know, I was half asleep. And then when you're not half asleep anymore, it's because you were too drunk. Which one is it? So Dylan made a statement. She said when she heard Kaylee scream and run back down, she hurried up and got up and she said, I jumped and ran over and locked my door. But then right after that, she's asked a question and she says, yeah, I don't know. I was really out of it. I was half asleep and, you know, we were really drunk. That's how she starts the sentence. We were really drunk and I was still half asleep. Well, you just said you jumped. You jumped and then you ran. How half asleep are you? And then there's another interview with another female friend of theirs that was interviewed when all of the girls went to the hotel, either that night, I think it was that night, the 13th. One of the girls said to the officer, I'm pretty sure her name is Sophia, said to the officer, I'm not sure why Dylan's saying she was so drunk. She told us she didn't drink or wasn't drinking. So that's interesting as well. Thank you, Moto. Hi, Homer Green. Oh, okay. So Homer says, hey, everyone, don't want to come in here and be rude and not speak. Well, hello. I was always under the impression that Hunter never touched anyone. And was there not blood smear by the knife on the table? Yeah, there was a blood smear on the knife, or next to the knife on the table. And they're saying that it came from Hunter's fingers and that it's Kaylee's red fluid. Because when we see the table prior to that, prior to the knife being on it, there is no blood on it. There's no blood on that table. So that's the only way it could have gotten there. Yeah, that's true. Steven says, so the furnace is out on a winter night and Dylan sees Xana laying on the floor in only her underwear and doesn't even cover her up. There's so much to that we could unpack. Just her saying she saw her and just left her. I mean, that's wild. That's your friend. To me, it seems so calculated. It seems so many things seem so purposeful to me. And that's why they don't sit well with me. I think obviously we're all here for the same reasons. We don't believe them, right? We don't believe this narrative. I don't believe that at all. And I don't think it's fair to sit here and assume that, first of all, that Brian Kohberger did it. But even if it was just one other random person, not with him, but just by themselves that did it, it's not fair to assume they sat there and cleaned up. They're not going to, They're not going to stay and stick around and see Dylan looking at them and then be like, wait, hold on. Let me get my vacuum. I got to clean up this mess. Like, no, that's. So, yeah. I'm curious. When I read your comment, I saw furnace, and now I'm curious, do we know about what time the furnace went out? Is there a way to tell that? I'm sure there is some sort of way to tell how long it's been out by the temperature in the room, possibly, even though the doors were open. But I'm sure there's a way to figure out how long ago the furnace went out. And I would like to know that, but I don't know why that wasn't looked into, because I feel like that could be important. And then, oh my gosh, did you guys see the one body cam footage where the cop knocks on the apartment door? It's where the purple and yellow ones are, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. But the officer knocks on the door, and it's two boys that answer the door. And the officer says, did you hear or see anything? And the one kid goes, yeah, we didn't see anything or hear anything, not like gunshots or anything. What? And then it comes out, the other kid goes, yeah, because my sister texted me and said that they heard gunshots in that area this morning. Another gunshot, another story of it being a pew pew, gunshot, bullets, duh. Like, why are the cops? It's purposeful. Like, I got to keep reminding myself that it's purposeful that they're not going with the pew pew story. Busy says, a big question I have is, why did Hunter not call 911 himself instead of making the girls call, especially if he's not trying to render aid? That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense for the person who doesn't see what's going on to call 911 to tell them what? We need you here. I mean, you can't give them any information if you didn't see it, but Hunter did see it. And he chooses not to call 911 himself to tell them what he sees. And that brings me to another point also. When we see the paramedics, the EMTs pull up, they pull up at the end of the street and they casually start walking up. At what point did the EMTs find out it's not an unconscious person, it's deceased people, and they don't need help because they're deceased? Because when they start walking up, it looks like they already know, because they don't bring any equipment. They're walking up really slow. They walk halfway up the street about as slow as possible. I mean, to me, that seems like you already know. How do you know? I mean, I'm sure there's like, a dispatch type thing, but the officers that are there, we don't really hear them say anything about deceased people yet. So how did the EMTs know not to rush? They weren't rushing at all. As far as I know, they checked Hunter's and Jack's, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I know they checked Jack's later as well, but I think that day it would have been Jack and Hunter. Moto says, I think it was Kaylee in Xana's room. There's a lot of things that point to that. Long time ago, not long, maybe 3 months ago, I made a video saying that it could have been Kaylee in Xana's room. And the reason I said that was because I had heard Kaylee once lived in that room, but that was not true. Maddie lived in that room, which makes it a little bit more strange that Maddie was the first victim, as far as what we're told. And the only 2 rooms that were hit were the 2 rooms that Maddie had lived in. Maddie lived in Xana's room, and then Maddie lived in Maddie's room. So, I don't know. It's possible. I think it's very possible. There's a lot of statements made that make it seem like Kaylee was the one on the 2nd floor. Lucy says, red flag that no one at 1122 King Road accurately described the scene, the real condition of those in need of assistance. Never ask how to help their friend. They have zero urgency. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that makes me angry is these cops do these lackadaisical interviews. I don't even call them interviews. Like they're little chit chats. Oh, we just appreciate you speaking to us so much. And never once asked anybody, did you do this? Nobody. I would have loved to see some pressure on these people, especially the roommates, because they would have cracked so fast. Live, no. I don't think they swabbed Hunter's dingling. Hey, Karmic, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you so much. That's sweet. Thank you. I appreciate you. And Christina says, actually, that's probably true because during the 911 call, you can hear somebody whisper, she won't cave. And we also hear poor Kaylee. So, don't know. All right, I'm way behind on messages. Moto says, what if Kaylee defended herself with that knife? I thought of that, not Kaylee, but Ethan. I thought they took trace evidence from Ethan's hand, and I want to know what it is. Also, here, let me look up this picture because I've always wondered what it was. And I want to ask you guys what you guys think this is. Give me un momento, por favor. Dun, dun. Here's a picture. If I can stop it correctly. Yep, here we go. I don't want to watch it. No, I just want to. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me share this screen. I just want to get a still shot of this. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Do you see the little white thing on the bed? It looks like it could be like a pencil, or it's in between the black pillow and the pink blanket, and it's white. It looks like a little white stick of some sort. Well, it looks to me, oh, somebody said a straw or something, I think. But it looks to me like there's the second piece of it down on the floor in between those cords. Do you see that piece? I believe that would be one piece and it broke. So somebody was awake and aware enough to try and grab something and use it as a weapon, I believe. Because what is it and where did that come from? It almost looks like the twisty thing on the blinds, and it looks like it broke. Ew, oh my God, hold on. Oh no, I'm seeing things. I was like, ew, do I see an ear? I don't. Sorry, I do not see an ear, I promise. I don't know, what is that? Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that later. Okay, anyway. I was just curious what you guys think it is. A blind turner. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Okay, so how would that get there? Was it already broken and somebody picked it up and tried to use it to defend themselves? Or did somebody fall into the window and grab the blind turner and try and use it as a weapon? Or like, is that there from part of a fight? To me, in my opinion, this is Ethan's red fluid. That's my opinion. All of this on the wall and the floor and the nightstand, that's Ethan's red fluid. I believe he did put up a fight. And I think that that's possibly why the back of his legs were cut. But I know in this picture they say Ethan is in the bed. I don't see it. I don't see where he could possibly be. He's 6'3". Isn't that a queen size bed? He would be hanging off this bed. This is Xana's room. This is Xana's room. Moto says, oh, we already said that. What if Kaylee defended herself with that knife? That's a good thought, actually. That would make sense why her red fluid would be on the knife itself. And maybe that's how Hunter got it on his fingers to then transfer it to the table. That's a really interesting thought, because we do have somebody that looked to have a lot of knife wounds that ended up passing away, that was walking in a field with broken feet. It's not Mowich, but we all know who we're talking about. We also know that one of the perpetrators was bleeding because they left their red fluid in a glove. So it's possible that somebody used that knife as a defense, for self-defense. Interesting thought. Let's see. Oh, maybe. And then Hunter takes the knife from Kaylee's hand while she's on the floor. And that's what maybe she's laying on the floor and that knife is near her. And then he realizes oh, what the heck? Wait a second. Is somebody still in here that could, get me? And he just picks up the closest weapon to him, which was the knife that Kaylee had in her hand. That's a big possibility. I'll have to think deeper on that. Hi, Michelle. Sophia Whitehead, wait a minute. Sophia Whitehead used to live at 1122. Sophia. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. I'm way behind here. Let me catch up with you guys. The sliding door was open? Which sliding door? The front sliding door or the back sliding door? Oh, I'm really behind. Let me catch up with you guys. Dang. Way behind. Way behind. Okay. I agree with you. Is it Johanna? Johanna? Says, I'm sorry, but this bedroom doesn't look like a massacre. I've seen other cases and crime scene pictures. The bed has been full of red. Yeah, full. Like you can see the outlines of people and it's everywhere. I really thought with an arterial bleed like that, if he was on the bed where he's at, where they say he's at, especially in this picture, which I don't think he is. I don't see it. I think they're covering something else up. What's that yellow thing? What's that yellow thing in the middle? That's not skin. He was covered up with a blanket, but I don't know. With an arterial bleed like that, it would have been everywhere. I mean, 50 stab wounds, defensive wounds. Just with all that red fluid on the floor right there, how did somebody not track it all around? How did Xana not step in her own as she's defending herself and track that around? I don't know. I expected a lot more. I'm not saying it's not a lot of blood. It's just not what I expected because I've seen worse photos, way worse. Stephen says, all the evidence and statements from the start has been confirmed that it was a planned slaughter with Dylan was part of it and Bethany for sure knew about it. That's what I think. That's what I think. I mean, they came out right away and said this was targeted. Who? Which one? And then they try to backtrack. You can't do that. I mean, you can, obviously, but. Hey, Dago. How are you? Good to see you. Let's see. That's what I think too. The spray would be on the walls, substantial pooling on the bed, but there's none of that. None of it. Even if it's under these blankets, it's not enough. What the problem I have with this picture is they said the backs of Ethan's legs were cut. He's 6'3". You would see it on the bed. You would see the stain from that on the bed and the rest of everything. Yeah, I mean, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little spots on the wall, like little spots on the wall, and that's it. I don't get it. No, Mia, I don't think so. Hi, Carol. Please be safe driving. No texting and driving. Let's see. Okay. So I want to do really quick. We want to do Gower's, because he does say like 2, 3, 4 things that I think are super interesting. I do have it at 1.25 speed as well. So not that that's necessary. He doesn't move, but let me make this bigger.
You want to see right there for me now? Yeah, for sure. All right. So, obviously, you know why you're here. Like, we just need to try and figure out what you can tell us and any information that you have. Okay? Okay. So, do you know a Maddie or Kaylee? Yeah. Okay, how do you know that?
So I drive for Uber and Lyft.
Okay.
I drive for Uber and Lyft, and so I met them through that, and they kind of became some of my regulars, so I drive them pretty frequently. They texted me last night at, let's see,
That's a good point. Steven says, if a person was sliced and stabbed in that room, you'd see a pool of blood. Trust me, I was a hunter. I mean, yeah, exactly. Think of hunting even smaller animals, not even like a deer or anything, a smaller animal. Like, that's a lot of blood when, yeah. But this is a 6'3" human being. His legs would be hanging off the bed. That red fluid would be freaking everywhere. Even in the upstairs room, when we see the wall, even though we see quite a bit more red fluid on the bed, I still don't think that's enough. I still don't think what's on the wall is enough for what happened to her. It doesn't add up. It doesn't equate. It doesn't match. It doesn't make
Saturday at 10:02 p.m.
Allegedly, in my opinion, I think Eric Gower, the Uber Lyft driver, is a freaking weirdo.
Kaylee texted me and asked if I could pick her and some friends up from their house at 11:22 and take them to the club. I got there at 10:15, picked them up, took them to the club. I think there was 3 of them. Can't remember that for sure.
Oh, like Dago says he was hanging on the bed by the wall, like the other side. I see that it's blurred out. I guess I just assumed since he's so big and it's a queen bed, he would take up more space. So are you saying he was maybe like smashed up against the wall, the left side wall? How would he get there? How would he get over there though? If that's true, and the red fluid on the nightstand and on the floor was his, then how would he get all the way to the inside wall of the bed? That's interesting, actually. I'm gonna go back and look at that picture. I just was looking at it and I thought I saw something that I hadn't seen before, but I don't want to make y'all wait on it. Oh, for sure. 2 victims. Yeah. And one had 50 defensive wounds. It's so much. Like, we would see so much more red fluid, so much. So Tigo says, if you're getting a ride from Uber, is it normal for the clients to text back and forth on the driver's personal phone? I would think no. I mean, I wouldn't do that. If I was an Uber driver, I would not text people from my phone. And if I was a passenger, I wouldn't be texting them from my phone either. No, I don't think so. Half on and half off. Okay, he was half on and half off, but towards the wall, like the left side of the wall where the picture thing is hanging up. half off over there. I just don't see it. Oh, thank you, Carol. Carol says, no way is Ethan on that bed. For some reason, I cannot see it. I can't even picture where that would be. He's just too big in my mind. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm going to go back and look at it, but I have never been able to see it. I could also be blind, but yeah, maybe. I just think that, I don't know. I have so many things going through my brain right now. Like with him, I think he was obviously trying to defend himself. I'm just curious how I would think he would bleed out unless he put up a way bigger fight than we think he did. But let me tell you, if that was Brian Koberger he was putting up a fight to, no freaking way would Ethan lose. I don't care what knife you have. I don't think Ryan Koberger is winning in any fight with anybody, not even a female. That's just my opinion. There you go. There you go, guys. Always sleep closer to the door, gentlemen. Then you're in between the female and the mean people. Okay. I'm going to do this
there was a couple in the back, I think, and Kaylee was up front. Okay. And then at 1:45 a.m., Kaylee texted me, said, hey, can you come pick me up and some friends from the grub truck? I got there at 1:49, and then they got in the car shortly thereafter, and I took them home. It's only a 3-4 minute drive, dropped them off, and then headed out to another ride.
Okay. And who did you pick up? What time did you pick them up at?
I got to the grub truck at 1:49 a.m., and then their sister, I think it was, texted me last night.
Sorry, Fizzy, you said, can you email me that pic? The one of Ethan? The one of the bedroom? I sure can. I just want to make sure that's the one you want. If you remember the very initial crime scene photos we got, which were these, it was only released to the media, which should tell you something right there. It wasn't released to a police website. Those pictures were never released to the police website. Those were released to media only. So strange. I've never heard of that. Hey, Happy Hounds. See, Happy Hounds, I will always connect you with Tommy now. When I see your name, it makes me think of Tommy. But yeah, Fizzy, just let me know which ones you want, and I can go ahead and send them to you. I'm looking for something. Hey, Andalion. I've been thinking about that. I heard her say something about it today. Andalion says, I think Dylan wanted it done after the blue wig humiliation night. Someone did it in her behalf, maybe Quinn, acquaintances, and she was the inside lookout. She lured Kaylee. I do think that she lured Kaylee there. I really do. There's no reason. There was no reason. Yeah, it could be covered with a blanket. Ethan's cut legs. It could be covered with a blanket. And even like Dago says, if he's on the other side, closest to the wall with the picture thing hanging on it, then that could make more sense. I just couldn't see that before. I was thinking where it was redacted was where his legs would have been. Even though covered by a blanket, I feel like his legs still would have been hanging off the bed if he's 6'3". But I'm going to go back and look at it. I thought I saw something anyways, but. I don't understand why they didn't check the drains. They checked the drains of Koberger's, but not the victims, knowing within the first 10 minutes they were there, one of the officers says, oh, there's blood in the sink. Don't you think maybe you should check the drain then? Because that could have been a perpetrator's blood. Idiot. So dumb.
And kind of talking with her, went and found because Grub Truck live streams their stuff, went and found him on that. Because I couldn't remember for sure who the other person was. And so found him on that, and then they got in the car, and then we drove straight to their house, and I dropped him off.
All right, so let's go back through here just a little bit. So you drive for Uber and Lyft. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since 2018. October of 2019, I think.
How long has Kaylee been a regular for you?
I think they started last year. I think they lived there last year. There's a lot of people that come through that house. My friends, there's some old alumni stuff.
So for about the last year then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were obviously working Saturday night, or were you just at home?
Yep, I was working.
Okay, so you're out. You have an app that they contact you through, or was she texting you directly?
She is texting me directly.
Okay. So Kaylee has your cell phone number?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he says Kaylee has his cell phone number and they just text him directly. I mean, why wouldn't he offer? Well, yeah, all the other ones do too. There's a very large focus on Kaylee in this interview. Like most things, she was the focus. And it makes me wonder, is that because she was the target, or is that because they know somebody else was the target and they want, everything to fit this narrative, and somebody else being the target would tell a different story? I'm not sure, but there's a huge focus on her with him, and he is weird. Okay, we're going to keep playing because he says some odd things.
Okay, so they contacted you directly.
Mm-hmm.
You picked them up at the house first?
Yep, picked them up at the house, 11:22 there at, whatever time, 10:02 I think is when she first texted me. I think I got there at 10:15.
Okay. And you said you took Kaylee and 3 other girls?
I think there was 3 total. I think there was
3 total, so Kaylee and 2 others?
Yeah, I think. Like I said, there's quite a few that come through that house, so I hadn't gotten names and faces down entirely. It's always dark when I'm driving people, so
that's fine.
I can't remember who all it was.
Then you got another text from her about 1:45.
Yep.
Asking to pick them up in a grub truck.
Yep.
You arrived there at 1:49.
Yep.
Okay. And when you picked them up, where did you park?
I parked in front of the grub truck, and so then they came from the back of the car.
Now, what do you mean by in front of the grub truck? In front of it?
So where it parks there outside the garden,
okay,
it had a space in front of it, and there was a car already behind it.
Okay.
So when I pulled up, I just kind of pulled in between the front of the grub truck and that curb, like where the Friendship Square, like crosswalk is.
Okay, so you're facing...
I'm facing south.
Okay, so you're facing the south direction.
Okay.
So you just pull up. Mm-hmm. How long did it take them to get to you?
2-3 minutes maybe. I pulled up and I texted her that where I parked, and she said, "Perfect, be in a sec." They are at 75 and we were 78 order numbers. Okay. And within a couple minutes they got in. Kaylee sat up front and Maddie sat in the back.
Okay. Did they say anything to you when they got in the car?
We talked like usual. Maddie was in the back and was eating her grub truck with her hands. And Kaylee was up front and just kind of was like, "Hey, I hear you back there eating that with your dirty little hands. Like, don't eat all of that. We're going to split it." She's like, I'm not. Okay. And then... just kind of talked, asked them how the night went and everything. Everything's fine.
What did they say about that?
I don't remember specifically. I was working since like 10 a.m. and I'd been out till 3 the night before, I think it was. So I had a bunch of...
Okay, so this was his time Ubering or lifting in those 2 days. So now let's remember, Eric Gower's wife works at the police station, if that's not annoying enough, because, yeah, there's his connection. His wife works at the police station. So on 11/11, Eric Gower worked until 3 a.m. He turned around and started working the 12th at 10 a.m. And then... He started working at 10 a.m. and he was up working all through the day until 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock that morning, or 4 o'clock. That's a lot of freaking time Ubering, lifting, when you have a wife and a brand new baby at home. And then supposedly the ride he gave them was free. He didn't make them pay. It's strange. It's really strange. Okay, he's going to say some more things.
People, but it's kind of usual. Like, I don't remember him saying anything like, "Oh, look, tonight sucked," or whatever. I had a lot of people that said, "Oh, tonight was like so-so," but nothing like that stood out as far as weird or awkward or anything like that. As far as to know it, I remember everything was fine.
They didn't talk about anybody else they'd been talking to during the night. Didn't give you anything to make you feel that there was anything that had happened during the night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you still have all their texts?
Yeah.
Can you screenshot those and send those to me from the first text with her to the last one?
First ever? Or
from Saturday. So starting on Saturday, when was your first text with her?
Let's see here. Saturday, 8:40. She asked if I was driving.
Okay, start with that one. Okay, so start there. And then to whenever your last text with her was.
Okay. Yeah, I texted her after I got the vandal alert asking if they were all okay.
Okay.
And then what's your phone number again?
That's an interesting thought. Pamela says, I do not believe this is the private driver. Nothing about him makes sense. Why is Kaylee always sitting in the front with him? Weird. There are 2 drivers in this case. The other guy is older. That's interesting. I haven't had anybody say, like, I don't think it was him. But the fact that his wife works for the police station tells me why, if he's not the actual driver, why they picked him, right? Because he's connected to them, basically. Oh, we need somebody to pretend to be a driver that night. Oh, I know, my husband will do it. He occasionally drives Uber. He could be their fake Uber. Like, I can totally see it. Of course, if this was a completely made up case type of thing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
What's your middle initial?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And your date of birth?
Dirty little hands.
I'm just going to ask for what's your address?
He's a weirdo.
Okay. And your phone number again?
Maybe that's why he was there. Maybe that's why he gave them free rides.
This is in Idaho.
Yeah. You have, okay.
It's out of Idaho. Okay. And you sent those to me?
Yep. It shows what they sent at least.
I have not gotten them yet.
Oh.
Really? I'm going to have to find them.
Probably try and screenshot of the times too.
And you sent
We'll try
it.
and
It may come through in a minute or two.
hold these over here so we have all the times too.
Okay. So just send those to that same number for me.
Sounds good.
So I'm back to my notes real fast.
Yeah,
But based off of your interactions with him, you didn't think you didn't have any feeling of getting out of the ordinary?
No, Maddie seemed drunker than Kaylee. I mean, you could tell they've been out at the bars, but everything seemed fine. Behavior seemed typical. Like, I kind of usually notice when someone gets in, I'm like, hey, how's the night been? Oh, shitty, or, whatever. Yeah. That's an unusual response.
How intoxicated compared to normal interactions with him were they?
I'd say Kaylee was pretty normal. Maddie was definitely, she was a little tipsy, kind of struggling to stand and walk a little bit. And you can see that on the grub truck thing, too.
Yeah.
And then as I was backing out of their driveway, because it's kind of tight there, but I typically kind of drag my feet a little bit as I'm backing out and make sure they make it up and everything okay.
But in the beginning, he said he didn't pull in the driveway. Not the beginning of this. In the beginning of the case, he said he did not pull into the driveway. Remember? Because he didn't feel safe. Do you guys remember that? He sure did. Now, he pulled in the driveway. Now he's backing out of the driveway, too.
Yeah, they made it inside safe and sound and everything, nothing.
Did you see anything weird in the area before you left?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was, I'm trying to remember if that was last night or not. There was right as you come up, you're heading to the Queens and you go turn right into their driveway. There's a car parked there and there's kind of a pile of stuff on the road. And one thing was a shoe. And I didn't pull in. I think that might have been Friday night.
Okay.
And go, I won't pull in. I don't want to run over whoever's shoe. But I think.
So if he at 2 a.m. is dropping them off and backs up and sees shoes, where the hell are they?
I think I was pulled in the driveway and backing out when they were walking up.
Okay.
So I don't think that was the same night.
Anything? So you picked them up on Friday too?
I think so. Go back through here. Saturday.
Hold on. I thought he said there was a car there. Sorry, 1 second. Didn't he say there was a car there?
I'm trying to remember if that was last night or not. There was right as you come up, you're heading to the Queens, and you go turn right into their driveway. There's a car parked there, and there's kind of a pile of stuff on the road, and one thing was a shoe. And
there's a car parked there, and there's a shoe next to it. So was somebody, so that would fit with this crime happening way before, like we hear on Linda Lane, all the fighting. And did somebody change their shoes?
I didn't pull in. I think that might have been Friday night. Okay. And because I won't pull in. I don't want to run over whoever's shoe. And I think I was pulled in the driveway and backing out when they were walking up. Okay. So I don't think that was the same night.
Anything? So you picked them up on Friday too?
I think so. Go back through here. Saturday.
Like clothes and shoes, Christina, he said, I think. Like what? Where'd they go then?
So they did. She did text me Friday at 8:15, just asking if I was driving. I said I was, but then I never heard from him.
So boom. He said they text him at 8:15 to ask if I was still driving, and he responded and said he was, but never heard back from them at 8:15 the night before, right? I thought Dylan texted him at 2:10. So what happened to this timeline? Dylan texted him at 2:10, and that was the exact conversation that happened. So how is he saying this happened at 8:15 the night before? Somebody messed up on their timeline narrative here.
Maybe that was a different mate or different roommates or something. I can't. Okay.
And it was from a different roommate. That's Dylan. That's Dylan's text message to him that Dylan said was at 2:10 in the morning, but it wasn't. So then if you keep going with that, the text messages on Dylan's phone after 2:00 in the morning are all staged. All of them.
You would pick people up from the house?
Yeah, that house and like kind of the top of King Street there on the left. Those are like my two popular ones over there.
Who else have you driven from that house? Can you remember their names?
I was trying to remember when I was trying to text people, see if everyone was okay. I think there's another that lives there maybe, or I've driven from there. I'm trying to remember where she goes. I only see her every once in a while. And but I think it might be in one of those other houses that's just.
Yes. David Baracoa or Choa or whatever said he was out at 4 a.m. Said he drove by there at 4 a.m. I don't know what the heck. I don't know if he was being a Sobro or an Uber or just out driving. I don't know. But David said he drove by there at 4 a.m., which is interesting because we have so many cars and so many people saying they were in the area or drove by or this person drove in or this person left. Where are our Jesus? Where are all these cars at on the camera? I thought it was such a quiet night. It can't be both. We can't have gunshots and then, oh, I drove by and it was eerily quiet. At what time? Everybody says 4 a.m. Not everything happened at 4 a.m.
Towards King Street, like one of those two that's kind of like the steep driveway. But they have quite a few alumni that come through that have driven in the past. Like there's one, her name's as well. She lives down in Boise now, and like it's always kind of a hodgepodge of people from that house versus like it's always the same like 2 or 3 girls. So
okay. All right. Did you pick anyone else up that night and drop them off in that area after Kaylee and Maddie?
I don't think so. I had rides out of that area, and like I think I had some rides taking people back to.
A lot of people, you're right, Corey. Corey says pretty common for people to insert themselves into the scene to feel important. A lot of people insert themselves into the crime, not only to feel important, but if they did it to have inside knowledge, or they think they have inside knowledge of how the investigation is going. If they try and get close, then they feel like they can know what the officers know and will know if and when they're onto them too. So yeah.
There, I think that was before them, and they were girls. And then I picked up a couple from the house that's right there on the intersection of King Road, the kind of house there. And I took some people from there to campus, like Greek Row, I think. And then I had a request from there for that was and everything, but then they canceled, and then Kaylee texted me from Grub Truck. So I don't know if it's for sure the same person.
What time do you think you dropped them off at their place?
Probably like 1. Oh, hang on. Let's see here.
Do you keep track of that?
Not really, but I had a ride right after. I was going to go pick up a guy at the alley, and I texted him that I was headed his way at 2:13. I had Maddie spill some Grub Truck on the back seat, so when I pulled out of King Street, I just pulled right next to those apartments and cleaned off the seat real quick before I headed that way.
Okay.
So he drops them off. He just said he pulls over to clean out his back seat. So is that how Maddie's jacket got by the fire hydrant or what? Because I know he says they made a mess with mac and cheese. That's fine. But after you drop them off, you have to clean out your back seat? Yeah. Now he remembers? Interesting.
I'm thinking I probably texted him about the time I was either pulling out or was on Taylor there.
So not right after you dropped
not like
Kaylee and Maddie off.
Yeah, not like immediate, but I probably dropped him off around 2, maybe 1:55, 2, somewhere in there.
You said 2:13 is when you texted the other one?
Yeah, I texted him at 2:13 that I was headed his way, be there in a minute. But I don't remember 100% where I was, but...
Okay. So you're guessing what time that you dropped him off?
2-ish.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you think would be pertinent information that we need to know?
I don't think so. I've been trying to like think over things, and then the sister that texted me, like, she had kind of asked, like, hey, do you remember what time you dropped him off, and that sort of thing. I don't think so.
Okay. One last thing, and I've been asking everyone I talked to during this. Can I get your hand?
Yeah.
Can you flip them over for me? Can you pull your sleeves up for me? Over. Okay. All right. Like I said, we're just rolling everything out we can.
Feel free to have to do whatever.
Doesn't appear those have come through yet. What kind of signal strength do you have right now?
2 bars.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still not getting it through.
Okay.
I'll see if after you, it says it sent?
Yeah, it usually has a bar across the top if it's still trying to send.
Okay. My phone just may not have picked it up yet, so I'll give it a few minutes. If I don't get it, I'll re-text it.
Okay.
I'll text you and then you can send it to me, okay?
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, I think that's all I need from you then for now.
All right. So, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Let you go. And pretty excited. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
And everything like that. So
Please let me know if you need anything else.
Okay. Yep. I'm really out. Just push the bar to normal. I'll see you, okay? Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It'll close.
Yeah. I pinned this up here because Carol says, I wonder the same thing. I wonder if any of the actual perpetrators watch these videos or live streams. I wonder that all the time too. I don't care about the families. They're gonna hate our community anyway, so I don't really care about that. But I always wonder if the people who actually, oh, that reminds me of something. I gotta tell you guys something before I go. I'm going to go here in a minute, but I want to tell you guys, about 2 weeks ago, I made a pre-recorded video, and I don't know if this means anything or not, but I made a pre-recorded video, and after I mentioned a group of people in this video, sometimes known as Freemasons, I got a handful of emails from different people that were telling me to shut my mouth. Not kidding either. I got about 5-ish or more emails, and I never get emails. I mean, you guys know which one of you guys send me emails sometimes here and there, but I don't even check it that often because I rarely get emails. But after that pre-recorded video where I mentioned Freemasons, I had several emails that were literally basically telling me to shut my mouth. Don't mention those people. Don't talk about those people. Stop talking about those people. Something bad's going to happen to you if you keep talking about those people. Like, yeah, told me to shut my mouth, which is kind of interesting, I think, because that must have got under somebody's skin or a couple people. Yeah, I found it kind of funny. But I forgot to tell you guys, but I thought it was pretty funny. Let's see. There was something else I wanted to say real quick. Yeah, oh, this one, that's what it was. He was 15 minutes there. Why? He said he dropped him off at 2. However, we know it was what, 2:47, right? But he was in the area and text the next guy that wanted a ride. He said he texted him back at 2:13. So you were at what, 1122 King Road, dropping them off, and then pulled over, cleaning out the backseat of your car for 30 minutes, about 30 minutes, 27 minutes or whatever it is. That's weird. Why are you sticking around in that area for so long after you drop them off? Doesn't take that long to see people make sure they get inside safely. Well, I have Bronx. Hello. Yes, I have many, many, many guns and lots of security. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off for the night. I got things to do. I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you to all the mods and everybody who participates in chat so we can have excellent conversations over here. I will be back on Friday. I was going to have to work overtime this week, but I chose not to, so I can do Friday, and then I'm going to work Saturday to make up for all that overtime stuff so I can be on live normal times every day. So other than that, everybody have a wonderful evening. Be safe. Do something nice for yourself. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. All right, guys. Bye-bye.